In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
This almost seems like it's becoming a daily thing now. The U.S. military shot down another high-altitude object yesterday. Maybe a spy balloon? We just don't know. So to be clear, we're not talking about the one that was shot down over Canada on Saturday. This was a fourth one that they shot down over Michigan and over Lake Huron.
So they think it actually landed in Canadian waters in Lake Huron. It was shot down yesterday afternoon. And this is what we know about it so far. So they've now shot down 4 of these high-altitude objects in just over a week, including 3 in the last 3 days. Only the first one has been confirmed to be a Chinese spy balloon. The rest of them so far, including the one over in the Yukon, they haven't actually said what it was. And the one that I think in the Yukon, it was fairly close to where the second one that was taken down in like Alaska or something. So they've actually, I think they have taken, the Canadian military is now, going out to where it crash landed to go through the debris.
So the second one was the size of a small car that was shot down over Alaska on Friday. That one was lower, about 40,000 feet up. Now, then you've got the one shot down over Lake Huron yesterday afternoon, and it was even lower at about 20,000. So airspace over Michigan was briefly shut down, and over parts of Canada, too, in Ontario, because of that.
And so the one that was shot down over Lake Huron, that was the one spotted earlier in the day over Montana. At first, they said it was a radar anomaly, but now they say it was the same object that they ultimately destroyed over the lake.
So what are they? Well, not a lot of people are really talking a whole lot at this point. We do know that the first one was a Chinese spy balloon. But the others are suggesting it might be the same thing after all of these ones, too. And then U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer said yesterday, China is likely using, quote, a crew of balloons to spy around the world, according to him. And he said maybe we just weren't paying close enough attention. Maybe radar just wasn't picking it up, depending upon the height level that they're flying at, too.
If they've started to get a little more risky and flying them a little lower where radar can pick up on them. I don't know. I also wonder, too, is this something to distract us about something else China's doing in another spot of the world? Be like, oh, don't pay attention to what's going on over here. Here, look at all these weird balloons we're sending your way.
Yeah, don't look at what's happening behind the curtain. Take a look at this. And then, of course, others are joking online that it's aliens because the term UFO is being tossed around a lot.
That just means unidentified
which is
flying
what it
object.
technically is. These are, these last 3 are unidentified flying objects.
Well, the one that they shot down over Lake Huron, it was octagon in shape.
And then you had reports of the one that was over Yukon. One pilot saying, I had no idea what it was, how it was being propelled. I could see no propulsion system to make it move. He was confused as to how it was even moving at all.
But if it's like a balloon, they just throw it up there and let the jet stream do with it what it will.
Yeah, it's bizarre, though. I mean, you've got actual trained pilots going, this is weird. I can't make sense of this. So maybe the truth is out there. Although if aliens are invading us with balloons, it's kind of a really slow invasion, I think. If you're driving right now into work, apparently your commute can be good for your mental health.
Yeah, after year 1 of the pandemic, experts noticed that a lot of people that were working from home really seem to miss commuting. And they found it might have something to do with what they called liminal space. Now, basically, that's just transition time. So when there's a break between your work life and your home life and the stress, it kind of delineates between the two so that there's a dividing line between it, when you're driving to or from work.
So they tested the theory with a bunch of commuters, and in general, longer commutes gave people more time to relax and detach from everything. But I wonder what the dividing line is when it comes to a long commute.
I remember, I think I read more about this, and it said the max seemed to be about 45 minutes to an hour. And the prime was about 20 to 30 minutes.
Because my wife used to commute to London for work. And that was tough. It was 90 minutes door to door where she was working in London. So that to me is long. That's a long commute.
It is, definitely. But driving, if you, say, live in Wallaceburg and you're driving into Chatham or vice versa, that would be okay. Or maybe you're living near Windsor, driving into Chatham or vice versa. That would be okay.
Although some would make the argument driving on Highway 40 anytime can be a little bit
yeah, it depends. Driving in the snow, not so good. But so they say if you are working from home and you're having a hard time kind of, differentiating between, what's work time and what's personal time, manufacture your own sort of commute. They say a good thing to do is take a 15-minute walk before and after your workday. And so that kind of really sets a standard. If you're someone who always stops for coffee, get in the car and drive and go pick up a coffee and then come back. That's sort of your faux commute.
Just to try and get your mind wrapped around the difference between work and home. If you haven't gotten anything for your significant other for Valentine's Day, can you get away with giving them nothing?
Because there is a new Valentine's Day pullout that says 26% of Americans are not expecting their significant other to spend anything on them this year. And 35% say they expect their Valentine to spend under $50. 30% said maybe somewhere between $50 and $100, and only 9% that say they're expecting something that'll cost more than $100.
Now, another recent study found the average person was planning to spend about $130 this year. It sounds like we're talking about gifts, not dinner, because, you go to a fancy higher-end restaurant, you're talking $100 generally.
Yeah.
You get an appetizer, maybe something to drink.
Dessert.
You're probably over $100 there. Well, they did bring up the economy, so that may be why the responses were maybe a little bit more realistic, given everything going on in the world these days.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about, I'd rather have someone hey, let's go do an experience, rather than give me flowers or something like that, or chocolates.
What was the stat on the impossible question earlier this morning? 40-some% of women want a handwritten note. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to be a card, just a note. Find some paper.
That's going to cost you $0. Maybe go buy a blank card at the store.
Find an envelope, an old envelope, and write on the outside of that. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort necessarily, but maybe you can get away with shopping at maybe this store.
This Valentine's Day, get your special someone a gift from the $0 store. At the $0 store, you'll find everything you need. Look on the completely vacant shelves for 0 chocolates, 0 bouquets of flowers, and 0 diamond pendants or earrings. You don't have to show your love with a materialistic made-up holiday that guilts you into buying cards and presents. Nothing says I love you like nothing. The $0 store, right next door to the You're Getting Zero Nookie Tonight boutique.
This is kind of like the movie Jaws in reverse. A TikToker in China just got a huge fine after filming herself cooking and eating a giant white shark.
Yeah, one of those great whites, just like in Jaws. Now, it wasn't as big as the one in Jaws. This shark was about 6 feet long, but authorities in China have been investigating her ever since she posted the video last summer. So in her video, she shared, you could see her buying the shark illegally and then cooking it over a big fire. And she picks up a huge chunk and takes a bite. Now, great whites are considered a vulnerable species, and in China, they're actually protected. So after the video went viral, police showed up at her home and actually confiscated some of the leftovers and were able to send it off to a lab where they confirmed that it was a great white shark.
So she ended up getting charged under their wildlife protection law and fined her over $18,000. And the people who originally sold her the shark, they're in trouble too and also facing charges.
But here's the thing. It's not like it's a delicacy and people are clamoring to eat great white sharks because their meat's really high in mercury. And most sources say it doesn't taste great. And that's because sharks don't pee. They absorb their urine through their flesh, and then they excrete it through their skin, so they don't taste great.
Wow.
Urine-soaked shark meat. Delicious.
We're talking a little bit about food this morning. We posted on our Facebook page yesterday, given, the cost of groceries these days and everything else going up in price. What's your go-to kind of budget meal or cheap meal?
Yeah, when you've got more month than money left, what do you kind of fall back on? Thanks to everyone who commented on our page yesterday. Number of people, including Joanne, Tamara, and Candace. I agree with you guys. Spaghetti. That was my go-to meal in college. Mm-hmm. And when I lived in residence, I had a meal plan, but the food, like the dining room where in my dorm, it closed at like 6. Well, I'd be at practice until 6:30. So by the time I get back, you're starving. And so you're like, well, what do I do? We had like a little stovetop. So yeah, heat up some pasta sauce and some like penne or like, mac and cheese. And you're good to go.
When I was in college in North Bay, the residence, it was 6 people into each residence, right? And there was a couple of older guys that had gone back to school. So they, once everybody kind of found their way, said, hey, we all sat down together. Why don't we do a meal every Sunday? And one of us will cook, all right? And if you don't feel confident cooking, throw in some money to, a little bit of money to go get food. And so at least once a week, I was getting a decent meal, whether it was pasta, pork chops, things like that too, right? So what are some of the other ones, though, that people are saying? Well, grilled cheese, Marlene and a couple of others saying that's their go-to. We've got Linda saying Kraft dinner and wieners. Although the cost of wieners now, as someone else pointed out, make it a little tough because I said, beans and wieners, especially when my kids were younger and I was a single parent, that was always kind of a nice go-to.
You could get like a pack for $1, I remember, of like Red Hots.
And you could get 2 or 3 cans of beans for $1, especially when they went on sale.
Not so much anymore. Yeah, Stell wrote, dollar store macaroni with dollar store canned tuna. Can't afford wieners and beans anymore.
Sam saying tomato soup with grilled cheese. Oh, that's so nice. I said mix in tomato soup and vegetable soup together sometime.
I like where Sue's going. A large pot of homemade chicken soup to last several days and grilled cheese. Yeah, especially when you can get like one of those whole chickens on sale. You roast it in the oven and then use the bones to make stock. Oh, sounds delicious. And Heidi says macaroni, corn, and ground beef and tomato sauce. Heavy on the macaroni in a very large pot.
Again, these are your go-to type meals. You remember they used to do that, those poor boy meals they used to call them, and a lot of times it was beans and wieners, right? Because it fills you up. But now when a package of wieners is like $6 or $7, you're looking at that going, wow, when did hot dogs become a luxury item? Why is that happening? Well, when it comes to food in general, do you eat macaroni and cheese with a fork or a spoon? What do you go for?
Fork, for sure. And 59% of people agree with me on that one, according to this recent food survey. 21% of people say they prefer a spoon. And 13% say, it's a case-by-case thing, probably depending on the type of noodles.
And maybe their mood. When making pasta, you salt the water.
Yes.
61% saying yes. I actually looked it up one time, just to be sure. And yeah, apparently you should. But don't put oil in.
Yeah, no oil, but salt instead.
Because if you put oil in it, apparently the sauce doesn't stick as well to the pasta.
Now, you want to reserve some of that pasta water, too, because that can help make your sauce go a little further.
When it comes to onions, I know you and I are kind of on the same page here. Like the flavor, don't like them when they're like slimy.
I don't like the texture. So chop them up really small and put them in stuff. I'm good with that.
75% of people like them, 14% don't. 11% didn't have a response at all, so maybe they're on the fence. And spicy foods, 45% said they'd rather have something mild. 40% love spicy, 15% take it or leave it.
I like a little kick.
Our granddaughter, who's 6, loves spice. Our grandson, not so much. But she is like all about it. She loves, I would think she would use hot sauce if we let her, I think.
She's at that age, though, I think, where, when kids hit that, there's that one age where they're willing to try anything. And then as they get older, they start to they get like blinders on and don't want to try new foods.
Get a little choosy.
Yes.
Not a food adventure.
And then they start to open up later in life. Like when I was a kid, I never ate peppers. Now I love red, orange, and yellow peppers.
Yeah, I kind of rediscovered peppers or got into them a few years ago, but we never really ate them when I was a kid. We ate a meat and a potato and a vegetable. And that vegetable was usually carrots.
If there was peppers, they were in a salad.
Peas and carrots, or yellow or green beans if we were being adventurous, I guess. Well, you can comment on what is your cheap or go-to budget meal on our Facebook page. When my kids were little and they'd be sitting at the table, they're making a big mess and I'd be going around vacuuming. Sometimes I'd get them laughing because I'd just come up and I'd start vacuuming the table. Sometimes little bits of food and crumbs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Or the times I vacuum my dog directly. I'll start at the point of where the fur comes from.
I can honestly say, though, in all my years of having cleaned apartments and homes and places I've lived, I've never thought about mopping the microwave.
But that's what happened, of all places, in a public spot. A 7-Eleven in Malaysia. Someone posted a photo online of a staff member at the 7-Eleven using the same mop that they used to clean the floor of the store to also clean the microwave oven. Well, The tweet and the photo clearly went viral, and the public outcry was very swift.
Yeah, they say a rigorous cleaning and sanitation process was conducted for the store. So they went on to say the man was subsequently suspended and the microwave replaced. Yeah, you think? Might be a good idea. But here's another part of this story, though. To make it worse, another viral tweet came from a user who claimed to have witnessed a local train station and employees there doing the exact same thing and using a mop to clean the seats.
So they mopped the floor, and then they were mopping like the plastic seating as well. So the company that runs the train station there, they were quick to apologize and promised to look into the matter. I would say this. It makes me wonder because, people are so desperate to get employees and people working. I really think that these employees were hired just because they were the only ones that applied, and then were never actually trained about how to, pop the proper cleaning procedures.
I would say, though, common sense would tell you, I probably shouldn't mop the microwave.
Yeah, but if you never had someone tell you you shouldn't mop it.
I would think, too, if it's got one of those little glass stands in it, you're going to be knocking that all over the place.
I wonder,
take that out first?
Were they mopping inside, or are they just doing the outside door?
Sounds like it was everything. Sounds like it was outside, inside, the whole 9 yards.
But if you grew up at home and you had a stay-at-home mom and she did everything for you and she never taught you, some of these important life skills.
Great life tip. Don't mop the microwave. Something a lot of us have been talking about over the last week or so are all these various balloons that the military has been shooting down over Alaska, Canada, and Michigan. And U.S. President Biden talked about it yesterday.
We don't yet know exactly what these three objects were, but nothing right now suggests they were related to China's spy balloon program or that they were surveillance vehicles from any other country. The intelligence community's current assessment is that these three objects were most likely balloons tied to private companies, recreation or research institutions studying weather or conducting other scientific research.
So now we might know where at least one of them came from, the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade.
It's a club for balloon hobbyists. And if you're wondering what's up with the name, well, it's actually a reference to the scene in the movie Up, which, prominently features balloons, where the old man gives the kid a merit badge, which is actually a bottle cap. Well, this group launches small balloons with trackers attached to them because they're just curious about how they kind of float through the atmosphere and how far they can go. They're pretty basic. They can cost anywhere from, as cheap as $12 all the way up to almost $200. The $12 versions are basically just like a balloon you would buy at a store, at a party store. But there's some more intricate, larger ones that have a more durable material. And apparently at any point, there's dozens of them out there floating around in the atmosphere.
So the brigade says they lost contact with one of their balloons on February 10th near Alaska. That's also when the military used a missile to shoot something down in the same area.
So is that the one that landed in the Yukon?
And it went right there like that. The balloon was floating at around 39,000 feet, which is also about right. So the evidence kind of adds up. The government hasn't confirmed anything yet. By the way, one of those hobby balloons set to enter U.S. airspace today. So, stay tuned. There's also a chance it could pass over Mexico, too.
So is it just after they shot down the one that was, they believe a Chinese spy balloon, that people just started looking at the sky more? Because I know people were freaking out on, Super Bowl Sunday, because there was this line of lights over in the air. And it turns out it was a Starlink satellite. So it's Elon Musk's company.
And everyone thought, okay, well, that's it. The aliens are landing. They're just going to land right on the 50-yard line. That's it. The game's over. And the world changes. There's Tom and Tom and the hockey song, and we're playing that one in honor of the guests we have joining us this morning.
Yes, we're joined by Rowan, who recently got to skate around at the Toronto Maple Leafs game on Wednesday night. Welcome, Rowan. Thanks for coming in this morning. We really appreciate it. So how are you?
Good.
Good. So tell us a little bit about this experience. What was it like to get to skate on the ice in front of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
It was very fun.
Yeah? Did you not want to leave the ice?
I don't know.
Well, we watched the video, and it looked like your mom was trying to call you off the ice, but you kept skating around. Yeah, you were having fun, right?
Yeah.
So how did you, tell us, what team do you play for, Rowan?
U9 South Kent Lightning.
The U9 South Kent Lightning.
And what position do you play?
Forwards.
So you're a big goal scorer then, it sounds like. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Whitney, how was this process? How was she chosen then?
Yeah, so the Scotiabank Skater is a contest that you can enter online. And my son, who's 10 years old, he plays for the Chatham-Kent Cyclones. And so I entered both of them, and Rowan won. So I didn't really know what it was. I thought maybe it was like a family skate before the game or something. And so I did a little bit of research and started watching some videos online. And all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, she's the kid with the flag at the beginning of the game. Like, this is huge. So it was a great experience. They really took care of us. She got her own change room with her own little locker and everything, and a jersey. And we met some hockey players too, which was great. Daryl Sittler was there. We also got to meet TJ Brody. So it was a really, really great experience.
So, Rowan, what was it like meeting TJ? Was he really nice?
Cool. Yeah.
Did you ask him anything?
No.
No.
Did he give you any hockey advice, Ron?
No, but I gave him a sign.
Oh, nice.
What was your sign?
I forget what it says.
It said, go TJ Brody.
No, it said let's go.
Let's go, TJ Brody. You did have one question, though, didn't you, for him? Remember his smile? What's he missing?
Oh, his teeth.
He's missing his front teeth?
It's a great smile, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure that was Corson.
Oh.
So did he have a response to that about the missing teeth?
I think he just chuckled, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hockey player. I mean, occupational hazard, I guess, right? So pretty exciting. You got to stay overnight then in Toronto. So did you check out anything, Hockey Hall of Fame, anything like that?
Yeah, we went to the Hockey Hall of Fame in the morning, and it was also super fun. There was lots of interactive games and whatnot. So, yeah, just an overall really once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the kids and for myself.
Yeah, because, you got to be down on right at like ice level, right? So was that really cool to be there and then get to go out on the ice?
Yeah.
Yeah? Was that your favorite part of the whole thing?
I don't know.
So do you have the Toronto Maple Leafs, are they your favorite team?
Yes.
So who's your favorite player?
Mitch Marner.
So did you get to meet Mitch or did you see him?
I saw him on the ice.
That's he was skating around. Yeah, because they won that game, right? They beat
They did,
Chicago in that one. Well, thanks for coming in today. Really appreciate you guys sharing your story and the fact that you got to go there. And that what a cool honor. So do you want to say go Leafs?
Go Leaf.
I mean, that hurts me as a Boston Bruins fan, but we'll let it slide.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.